I ain't gotta prove nothing to nobody else. That's why I don't never get too hyped about the win after I win, because it's like you always gotta do something over and over again till you done. And it's always gonna be somebody next, somebody next, somebody next. So I feel as though I don't have to prove myself to these people.
Let's go! Lift it up! Lift it up! Lift it up! Come on! Come on, man! Let's go!
You're here. You know what I'm saying? So we are striving to be the best that we can be to be on that level again. You know? So, you know, you saying you want to do what you want to do, that's good, because that's what you want to do.
That's the God in you that's trying
that's
to
good.
seek it,
and,
you know?
And you giving back and giving thanks.
Gervonta Davis is sharpening every weapon in his arsenal ahead of his clash with Jake Paul, determined to prove that his knockout power comes from relentless training, not just natural talent. His camp emphasizes strength, timing, and durability to ensure he remains dangerous every second of the fight. Meanwhile, Jake Paul is treating this matchup the toughest test of his career. He's brought in elite sparring partners such as Shakur Stevenson, Raymond Ford, and Montana Love to refine his speed, reactions, and confidence before facing Tank.
So that's boxing at its finest right there. You heard it. They said it. Make that bet. Everything on the line. You know, that's old school right there.
Gervonta Davis places a heavy focus on conditioning, building a core strong enough to withstand the impact of the sport's most powerful punches. Having felt the effects of brutal shots in the ring, he understands the importance of toughness and stability during a fight. His training includes intense drills designed to test balance, posture, and resilience while adding explosive force behind his punches. Everything in his camp runs at full intensity as Davis continues to build strength, stamina, and a disciplined mindset ahead of his challenge against Jake Paul.
Ain't nobody breaking.
Box, exhale.
Ain't nobody breaking.
Box. Give me a boom on that last break. Box.
Fight boom.
I got him.
We take shit. Box. That's all.
I don't want that hip drop.
Yeah, I felt it.
Good, perfect. That was your best rep. Come on. Come on.
Jake Paul is deep in training camp, preparing for what he calls the biggest challenge of his boxing career. To ready himself for Gervonta Davis, he surrounded himself with top-tier talent to push him beyond his limits. Shakur Stevenson has joined his sparring sessions, giving Paul valuable rounds against one of boxing's most technically gifted fighters. He's also working with Raymond Ford and Montana Love to sharpen his speed, timing, and defense. Paul knows Tank is faster, smarter, and far more dangerous than anyone he's faced before. Every day in camp, he focuses on refining his technique and building confidence for fight night. Gervonta Davis has built his reputation in boxing through hard work and discipline. His journey speaks for itself. Trainer Kelvin Ford has watched him grow from a young fighter with dreams into a champion who thrives under pressure. According to Ford, success in the ring never happens by accident. It's earned through countless hours in the gym, unwavering discipline, and sacrifice. Davis has worked for everything he's achieved. From the start of his career to now, he's never stopped improving. As Davis prepares for his showdown with Jake Paul, voices from across the boxing world continue to weigh in.
Wait, man, it's just so much stuff. And me and Kenny was sitting there talking about it, and the majority of it is when he was little. We talk about all the stuff when he was little, and he started laughing like, dang.
When I get by myself, I always try to like think about like back in the day stuff.
Yeah. But we can tell.
I just noticed that just now, me talking about it. But when I get by myself, I be trying to.
No, we can tell.
Yeah,
when I listen to your interview, I like listening to your interviews that you do, and I can tell when you reflect back on certain things. You can see it. That's when I think you at your peace, and you start reflecting back and you talking about.
When he says something that we told him a long time ago,
we like, damn, he did remember that.
He remember that shit.
Yeah.
I see Brody been calling you a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, as far as on the what you call the chop.
Veteran trainer Abel Sanchez sees this matchup as a major opportunity. For Davis, he explains that many fighters devote their entire lives to boxing, giving their bodies and their youth, yet still struggle financially. Sanchez believes this fight is different. It offers Davis the kind of financial reward that few boxers ever receive in their prime. While it may not be for a ranking or a title, Sanchez says it represents a rare chance for boxing to finally give something back to Davis. This fight, Sanchez notes, could secure his future. It's the kind of moment every fighter hopes for, and he deserves it.
I don't like the fight, but as a coach, I think it's a good move for Tank Davis. I mean, I think I've seen too many kids go out of this sport with not a cent in their pocket. And I think that if Tank Davis takes advantage of a big payday like that, I think it's a ridiculous fight as far as a fight fan. But as a coach, I understand it. You have to take care of your own.
Yeah, you know, well, actually, now that we're talking about it, you're not the biggest fan of it. Fight fans are bringing up like, hey, you know, why did he go this way when there's Lamont Roach? Like, look how close that fight was. There was a draw. We were expecting a rematch in that fight.
Yeah, well,
What's happening here?
As much as we hate it, it hasn't become really a sport. It's become a financial sport. So he took it because it's 5-6 times more than he's going to make with Lamont Roach. That makes sense. I mean, anybody, ask anybody if they have a choice, they're going to take the money. Of course. He's got to take care of his people. He's got to take care of himself. He's got to take care of his future. That's the smartest thing to do. As a fight fan, I don't like it. But as a coach, I understand it.
Yeah, no, and I think anybody in that position, like, we got to, like, put ourselves maybe sometimes in that same situation. And I think
Absolutely.
anybody with, like, any, like, sense of, like, common sense would look at that and be like, wait, I'm making this much to fight against this guy that's only been fighting for 5 years compared to what could be maybe a really hard fight, and I'm going to make double, triple. Yeah, I'm going to go, let me do this little side quest real quick, and let me get this money real fast. And then,
Of course, you have to take care of your future, man. If it's offered to you, you'd be foolish not to take it, especially against a guy that is no threat to him.
oh, well, I don't know, this 50 pounds, Abel.
Yeah, but he's no threat to him. Tank Davis fights the way he fights. Understand that Tank Davis fights. He's probably one of my favorite fighters. I think I've said that many a times.
Mm-hmm.
He fights in a manner where he's fought all those big guys. Look at the way he throws his punches. Look at how he ducks down like if he's fighting a real big guy. Look at the way he fought when he knocked out Garcia. Look at where he puts his head and how he throws his punches. In the street, that's who he was fighting. He was fighting bigger guys than him. He was always a smaller guy. So he knows how to fight those big guys. He knows how to duck up underneath and throw those looping shots because that's who he fought in the street. At least that's my opinion anyway. He's always been the little guy, and I'm sure that in the streets he wasn't.
Chris Algieri also admires what Davis brings to modern boxing. He notes that today's sport is about more than just skill, it's about attention, star power, and the ability to fill arenas. Every time Davis steps into the ring, fans show up, the atmosphere intensifies, and anticipation rises because anything can happen when Tank fights. Known as one of the best finishers in boxing, Davis's knockout power keeps audiences on their feet. Algieri says Davis represents the new era of boxing where entertainment meets excellence. When he fights, Algieri says, it feels big. It feels like an event. He adds that Davis understands how to stay relevant in a world where capturing attention matters as much as winning rounds.
And it's
the
face of boxing is basically... Yeah, the face of boxing now is based on if you sell and if people tune in and how many eyes are tuning in when you fight. Gervonta Davis had that. Jake Paul has that. Now they're fighting each other.
Again, these are created products. These are still created products. Jake made his name going to Walgreens and then making funny faces. You know what I mean? And then it was just blowing up on YouTube and whatnot, right? I mean, that's how he started.
The world we live in now, dude. It's unfortunate.
Okay, so,
it's not like Sugar Ray Leonard, who was the best fighter in the world and marketable. It's not like Oscar De La Hoya, who was a gold medalist, a great fighter and marketable.
But what I'm saying is technology allows us to make, if I want to take this shoe off right here, and I say I want to make my Nike sneaker into the best product possible, and I got enough money to push it behind it. I put it all over your social media platform, and I put it all over your TV set and all over your phone and all over everything. You know what, bro?
There's also ongoing debate about Jake Paul and the fairness of his matchups. Former champions Carl Froch and Paulie Malignaggi believe Paul's fights aren't staged, but they often unfold under circumstances that favor him. They expect similar conditions here. Jake is bigger, heavier, and may have rules in place that limit Tank's strengths. Froch and Malignaggi understand the business side of boxing. Promoters want a spectacle, a storyline, and marketable drama which can create an environment designed to benefit Paul. Still, they acknowledge that Davis's skill set is capable of breaking any plan. If the fight becomes a true test of pure boxing ability, they agree that Tank is the superior fighter.
Realized, an exhibition, you could stage it and they couldn't take bets on it. So this is an exhibition. There is no betting on it. So that means, I'm not saying people are going crazy with the opinions, who's going to win, who's going to lose. You don't know what size gloves they're going to wear. You don't even know if they're going to stage the whole thing, because this is something that as an exhibition, it's not illegal to stage it. So I think this could be all kinds of crazy, wacky stuff. This is a bit of a circus, in my opinion.
Who would you think should win that fight? Would you think that Davis should be able to get in there, even though the size did 100 pounds? Do you think he should be able to do it?
If they don't stage it and don't kind of set up a sort of a mild sparring session, I'd say Davis has a chance. Depends on the size of the gloves. Because here's the thing, Jake is probably 100 pounds bigger than the guy. That's a lot of weight, Carl. You've been in a boxing ring, that still counts. And if you make the gloves small, Gervonta could technically hurt Jake even if he hits him. But the problem is that the gloves are small. Jake could also hurt Gervonta because Gervonta's so small. Gervonta's so much smaller than him. So do you make the gloves big, and then really who's got an advantage? I don't know. Technically Gervonta's a lot better boxer, but he's so much smaller. I've stood next to Jake. Jake's a big guy. It's like I said, it's a bit of a circus freak show, and that's why I don't put it out of the question that this exhibition could be a bit staged in the ring.
That's fair enough. That's a fair point, that is. And actually,
people aren't talking about that enough. I feel like people aren't talking about that enough.
Well, he's threatening to sue everybody who talks about it, and anyone who talks about it.
Well, that's because his fights have been sanctioned, and I personally don't think he has set up the other fights. I personally think, like Mike Tyson, he had no legs left. You know what I mean? I to tell you the truth, I thought that was an easy one to bet and call. It was that Jake would beat Mike Tyson. And even some of these other fights, they're smaller. Jake doesn't set up his fights. I think what he does is he stacks the deck against his opponents in those fights. So I wouldn't call them staged, but they're deck stackers, so he has an advantage. In this situation, though,
Shocker Stevenson approaches the matchup from a technical standpoint. He recognizes Jake Paul's size advantage and natural strength, but insists that size alone doesn't win fights. Davis, he points out, has faced world champions and elite-level opponents throughout his career. Stevenson predicts that Davis won't rush for a knockout. Instead, he'll fight smart, use his speed, control the distance, and stay composed. He expects Tank to win on points, explaining Jake's not easy to drop, but Tank's skill and ring IQ will make the difference.
I mean, size will play some part of the fight, but if I'm thinking like I'm Tank, I'm probably just gonna go out there and try to outbox him and use my knowledge and IQ against him. So I can see Tank just outboxing him and making it real easy.
Is there any way any realistic or legitimate way in your mind you could see Jake Paul winning a fight against Tank?
No.
No way.
Nope.
Not a lot of people have talked about Jake and said he's got good power. Not even and I get anything could technically happen, but you don't even see a realistic shot where he could land one big punch, and Tank being so much smaller, he just can't handle the power.
Nah, not at all. I think Tank is he's been boxing his whole life. He's been boxing since a kid, so I doubt that's gonna be an issue or problem. I think Jake is good for where he's at, but I think it's just levels.
Do you see a more likely chance that Tank wins by decision or by knockout?
By decision. I mean, that guy's too big. I don't think that he's just gonna knock that guy out. So I see him outboxing him.
Could you see a realistic possibility where Tank could knock him out? Although more likely that it is, like you just said, a decision.
Nah, I don't see him knocking him out, no.
Will you watch, Shakur? I mean,
no.
Obviously, no?
Hell no, nah. That ain't really I mean, like I said, here's the thing. I got two sides of me when it comes down to I got a business side, then I got a competitor side. And from the competitive aspect, it don't excite me.
Weight has become a central topic among fans and analysts. Many argue it's unfair to pit a smaller fighter like Tank against a naturally bigger opponent like Jake Paul, claiming the size gap could raise safety concerns. Others believe elite skill can overcome physical disadvantage. They trust that Davis's speed, precision, and experience will offset the weight difference, reminding everyone that boxing history is filled with examples of smaller, more skilled fighters defeating larger opponents through superior technique.
WBA lightweight champion Gervonta Davis, who's unbeaten in 31 professional contests, takes on the self-proclaimed problem child Jake Paul, one of the most influential and marketable global personalities. Paul and Davis square off in Miami after doubts around the fight being sanctioned in Georgia triggered a change in venue. Neither fighter can weigh more than 195 pounds. The weight is perhaps the most surprising factor. Paul has boxed most of his career around 200 pounds, the cruiserweight limit, but did tip the scales at 227 pounds when he faced off against Iron Mike Tyson last year. Davis, much smaller in stature, competes at the 135-pound mark and has also won world honours at super featherweight. And despite some discussions about possibly dropping down to 10 ounces, the pair seems set to wear 12-ounce gloves. And in terms of distance, despite the exhibition tag, the fight will play out over 10 3-minute rounds with 3 scoring judges at ringside, but the result will not be officially recorded